it's always hard to create content when you're doing so much. You're in the midst of doing. Just want to encourage you, like my father-in-law always says, like, don't be afraid to push, you know. So we're about to open up our new location for Town Tees. Just want to talk a little bit about Town Tees and the process and the journey. Graphic design has been something that I've always done. So the two things, if I have two things that I've always done, it's been graphic design and acting, or theater and drama, or just playing the fool. But in high school, I remember teacher Mr. Collins, who was a graphic design teacher. Like I loved going to his class because, you know, we got to use Max, and we got to do airbrushing and you know, just different mediums, photography, silkscreen, and, you know, all these different processes for creating, I guess, images and telling stories through visual ways. And I loved that class. And so graphic design has always been something that I always have in my back pocket. I used to do design layouts for a church, and you know, flyers for events. And when Julianne and I got together, we basically started a design company called Design Intelligence, and we paid for our wedding and our honeymoon, doing graphic design, and, you know, I did some magazine layouts for this magazine in Atlanta, and just websites, Julian websites, and all that stuff. So graphic design's always been something that's been there, and honestly, I think is one of the most like lucrative tools, and like also like freeing in the sense of like being a freelance designer. You can work from anywhere, and, you know, if you can create awesome things, there will be a demand for you. So that love for graphic design has always been there. And in 2016, my brother-in-law, shout out to Kervin, he had some printing equipment for apparel printing, and was like, hey, you know, like I was in transition out of a job as a pastor, which I'll share about those stories on this channel, and he thought, hey, you know, maybe you could come and do graphic design and, you know, whatever have you. And I went and I did it, worked with him, and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, wow, this is a really amazing business. And we grew his business, got, you know, to do apparel printing for new businesses and graphic design and all that fun stuff. And in 2018, we launched Town Tees in Shelburne, which was an apparel decoration company, and again built on, you know, my ability to do graphic design and work within the Adobe suite, and it grew, and yeah, that started in the basement. And I remember having my first hire, and, you know, they came to the house and worked in the basement, and I, you know, companies and businesses and people just picking up from the house. And, you know, it was cool at first because I'm like, hey, I get to work in my pajamas and all that fun stuff. Then it was like, well, I can't, you know, I gotta make sure my driveway's salted, and I don't want nobody slipping on my front door, and I need insurance, and whoa, there's a lot of people coming, and, you know, I need some business hours. And at the same time, my wife and I were transitioning with our charity streams, which I'll talk more about on the channel. And we were transitioning to getting our very own.
Police reported ahead.
Okay, so police are reported, so make sure you're paying attention to the road. We we're transitioning to getting our own space for streams. At this point, we had been running for 4-5 years, and seasonally renting the schools. And so we found a beautiful space that we were going to acquire, and then within the space we thought we cool to put Town Teas in there, because we were recognizing as Town Teas was growing that it was actually a social enterprise, that its purpose was twofold. One was to encourage youth by giving them first job experience and focused on hiring youth, and then that the proceeds, above and beyond profits, or above and beyond our profits, would go back into streams and be a way to support streams, and so that it can help with offsetting the reliance on grants and things like that. So it was kind of cool, and I think people liked the fact that we were connected to streams, and they knew that when they supported Town Teas, they were supporting streams. So we moved Town Teas into that space in 2021, and 2021? No, 2022. And when we moved in there, and it was great. We were like out of the basement, and Town Teas continued to grow, and so much so that we were actually taking up extra space within streams, and Julianne was starting to get upset and frustrated with all the boxes, and she wasn't really getting frustrated and upset, but we were taking up a lot of space. And so we thought, you know what, there was another unit available in the plaza. It's been empty for a year. At this time, we're coming into 2023, and we're like, I think it makes sense for us to expand and kind of get some extra space. So we did that. In April, we acquired another unit to build out Town Teas into its own space, and within that space we thought, it would make sense to kind of allot a couple 100 square feet to retail space. So front end of the Town Teas is retail, and then the back end is all production. And we're a couple days away from kind of doing a soft open. We're thinking about doing a grand opening in September 1st. But a soft opening of this new space. It's been pretty exciting journey, to see this thing come from the basement into streams, and now stepping into its own space. And we just hired 2 part-time students. We already had 1 part-time student and a co-op / part-time. So, and then there's Brody, who's first was my production assistant, grew to production manager, now is general manager. And so, we got 5 employees, as well as Tanya Falau, who's been running with me since the very beginning, with the Drum Off and S4 Entertainment and all these other things that hopefully I'll get into as well through this channel. So we got 6 employees, 7 including me, and it's like this thing was in my basement, and now I have a general manager who yesterday we kind of had like a training in the new space, and he's leading and sharing and saying these are our new processes, and we're doing this and that, and this is how you do this, and it was pretty pretty amazing to see, and encouraging, and encouraging, because that was the vision, right? To have a youth run social enterprise. And Brody's 20, and he's the oldest, outside of myself and Tanya, of course, but he's the oldest, and I'm hoping that he's gonna duplicate himself, and we got this great team, great growing team, and I just think it's pretty awesome. And so I'm gonna share more about that, you can follow Town Tees on Instagram and see some of the things that we're posting and things that we're doing, and trying to, again, it's always hard to create content when you're doing so much. You're in the midst of doing, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of share, that again, like I'll show some videos of the new space, and just want to encourage you. Like my father-in-law always says, like, don't be afraid to push. Like my father-in-law, awesome man, entrepreneurial, serial entrepreneur, and did a lot of things on the island of St. Lucia, as well as here in Toronto, and really encouraged and inspired me, to push, like step outside of your comfort zone, and realize that, like, I could have been comfortable in the basement. I could have stayed in the basement, press shirts in my pajamas and be okay with that. But when I saw the opportunity to make it more than just be about me, to give young people an opportunity, because I was like, this is a pretty easy job. Like, I could teach this to somebody, and they can do it. And when I thought that, it's always hard for young people to get their first job, right? Like, you always got to have experience, and then it's like, well, how do you get experience if you don't have, if I don't have experience, how can I say that I have to have experience? And the whole thing when you're doing your resume and handing it out and doing applications and stuff. And so, I thought this would be a great opportunity to create jobs for young people, and hopefully through that process, build them up and encourage them, like, they're gaining responsibilities, and interfacing with customers, and just building confidence and self-esteem and all those things, and hopefully being in a positive and encouraging and inspiring environment. And so when I saw the opportunity to be able to do that, I was like, you know what, I have to push. I have to really dig deep and see how we can grow this thing, so that we can create a platform for more youth to be hired. And so I'm grateful to God for the opportunity to be where we're at right now, and I'm excited for where we're going and growing. So yeah, my lesson today: don't be afraid to push.